Hi everybody! It's Kristen here again. So now we're on video 4. We're going to finish up with our angles, and then we're going to go on to our coordinate plane. So we ended with our adjacent angles on the last video, on video number 3. Again, this is video number 4. So we're going to refresh again. So if I want complementary angles, that means that they're going to total to equal 90. So complementary angles equal 90 degrees. It doesn't matter how they equal. I could have an 85-degree angle and just a 5-degree angle. As long as they equal together, when they are totaled together, 90 degrees. 90 degrees, complementary angle. Bye-bye. Supplementary angle. I'm going to have my straight line, my center point, okay? It's going to equal 180 degrees. That doesn't matter how. It could be straight up and down. So we'll have 90 and 90. Yes, sir. I could have 120 and 60. It does not matter. It matters that only they equal 180 degrees combined. So both together. They're going to be on the same line here. They're supplementary. So supplementary angles equal 180 degrees. Any total of the two angles is still going to be 180 degrees, so it's going to make it supplementary. I know we've gone on for that a lot in class. Everybody should have that down by now, but just in case, I wanted to throw that out there. Alright, so now on to our coordinate plane. So our coordinate plane, again, is that big graph-looking thing that I was so proud of in class. I left it up there forever. Alright, so it's just a bunch of lines going back and forth. Right, so generally it looks like this. It looks like a grid. Not so messy. You know, messy. I'm going to erase this anyway. That was just an example. Alright. I love how you can still kind of see this stuff on here. Kind of creepy. So, back to my coordinate plane, but I'll do the easier one this time. So I'm going to have my ticks. Okay, so this is my coordinate plane made of two axes, or axes. If it goes left and right, it is the x-axis. X-axis, left and right. So like the horizon, that horizon line. Remember we talked about the sun going up and setting on the horizon? Horizontal, horizontal, left and right is going to be x-axis. Up and down, or vertical, vertical up and down is going to be our y-axis. Okay? So I've got our coordinate plane made out of a y-axis going up and down or vertical, and an x-axis going left and right or horizontal. Let's not forget our center point right here is at 0, 0, meaning this is the 0 position on the x-axis and the 0 position on the y-axis. So it's going to be written 0, 0. And again, a coordinate with a smaller comma, x on the left, y on the right. Every time, 100%, Don't change it. Ever. Okay, so almost time for formulas. We've done that. Now, if I pick two separate points, so I'm going to leave this one here just so we know that this is the origin. This is a set, not moving point. I'm going to say my first point is going to be at 0 because I'm still at 0 on x. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can label it over here to the side. But generally, when I'm doing it, if I'm only going one tick at a time, like if one tick right here equals 1, then I just know in the back of my head and I can count over, but you can always write in the numbers if you want. So right now I have a point at 0, 4, and I'm going to find another point, and I'm going to stick it out here in the middle right here. Alright, and if I look at it, I'm going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to go up at 2. So this point is written as 5, 2. This is my coordinate for this point. 5 on the x-axis and 2 on the y-axis. Now let's say I want to combine these points. Say I'm making a slide. Okay? So I can grab if I can get it. There we go. I can grab my handy dandy ruler and I can say, here's a line. I really want to draw on my ruler. I don't know if it comes off. Oh, it comes off. We're good. Okay. But anyway, so I've made a line from one point to the other. Now, if I'm making a slide, I'll probably need to know how long I need this line to be, because this is going to be the top of my slide and this is going to be the bottom of my slide, and I need that material to make it. So I need to know, what is this? What is this line right here? Now, to find out how long this line needs to be, I could use the distance formula, or I could use slope. Now we're going to do slope right now, just because we need to review it, but slope again is the same as m, right? Which is the same as rise over run. And our formula for slope, I'm going to write it down here, is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now I already know what my x's and y's are, because my x's are always on the left and my y's are always on the right. I just need to decide which point I want to use. I'm going to say this is going to be my first point, so I'm going to label this with a big 1, and this is going to be my second point, and I'm going to label it with a 2. Okay, so now to run this, I'm going to change colors. Where'd the blue go? There's blue. Okay, so this is going to be x2, y2, and this is going to be x1, y1. All I have to do now is plug them into the formula. So if you can remember that formula, just keep writing it out. Like I said, the more times you write something, the more likely it is that you're going to retain that information, and you'll remember it for things like the quizzes and homeworks even. Just remembering it for the homework is going to make that go so much quicker, because you're not going to have to look back at your notes and go, oh, what did Miss Kristen say this formula was? You're not going to have to write it all over all your papers every single time. You'll remember it. Now you can always look back. You can double check yourself every single time if you want. But if you want it to go quicker, then you need to remember it and to memorize it, just like you would anything else. Alright, so I'm going to plug in my numbers. So my y2 is the number 2. My y1 is up here is the number 4. My x2 right here is 5. My x1 is up here at 0. Now I'm just going to do simple math for this. So 2 minus 4. We went over this in class, and I'll probably have a separate video on negative numbers, adding and subtracting and multiplying, that just as a refresher. So look for that to come up soon. But 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And remember, think of that as I have $2, but I owe you $4. So I can give you those 2, but I am still negative $2 because I owe that to you. And then 5 minus 0 is 5. So now I have a slope of negative 2 over 5. or negative 2/5. So what that means is I'm going to go down 2, because it's rise over run, so rise is up and down 2 because it's negative, and over 5. Okay, so rise over run, the run is in the denominator, and that's 5. So down 2 over 5. And I'm going to put that negative sign there just so we can remember that I'm going down, because it's negative and it's rise over run. So if it was positive, I go up, negative, I go down. Okay, racing. Now don't forget, you can always pause these videos if you want to look over it, if you want to keep notes. Just pause, hit play, come back to it. Something gets busy. Somebody starts throwing spaghetti across the room. Alright. I'm going to make a separate one on the triangles. So look for that next. And then we're going to start going into examples. And then I'm going to go back in time in our imaginary YouTube world. And I'm going to do refresher videos, some for a few other students that have asked me about it when they found out I was doing this. And then some just for us, so we can look at it, so we can remember like the negative numbers that we were talking about in class, just to make sure everybody understands what it is. I want you to have that old concept that you should have learned in a previous class. I want that old concept to make just to be solid. I want it to be set, and I want to look at you and say, what is this answer? And you just spit it at me, and we continue on. Okay? Good? Okay. Love you. Bye.